Cunningham has everybody up in arms. Everybody's up in arms. They calling her a clout chaser. They're calling her racist. All types of stuff. All types of stuff. Sophie knows how to stir the pot. Shots.
Sophie Cunningham just blew up the entire WNBA off-season with one sentence that shook the internet to its core. People are calling her everything from a clout chaser to straight up out of line. And it all started from a 20-second clip that spiraled into a full-blown social media meltdown. But here's the twist. Everyone's yelling about what she said, and almost no one's realizing what it really means. This mess isn't about Victoria's Secret or Angel Reese, not really. It's about who actually gets to speak freely in women's basketball, and which voices get checked when they do. Sophie's joke wasn't random. The blonde bomber just dropped what might be the most strategic, subtle jab of the entire season, and the timing couldn't be more explosive. Was it shade? Was it harmless humor? We'll get there. But first, we gotta talk about the moment that sparked the tension, when Angel Wilson said something about Aaliyah Boston that made everyone wonder if the league's biggest superstar is starting to feel untouchable. Cue the clip. Angel Wilson, the reigning MVP, champion, absolute powerhouse, mocking critics who claim she gets superstar calls. And the wild part? She's doing it while subtly taking a shot at Aaliyah Boston, who couldn't get a single foul call to save her life in that playoff series. That's not just sass, that's dominance on display. Now, some fans brushed it off as harmless trash talk between rivals, but that's where they're dead wrong. That moment was when the WNBA's credibility problem went from whispers to a national debate. Angel's attitude didn't calm the fire. She poured jet fuel on it. But to really understand how this turned into chaos, we need to rewind to Sophie's comment. Because what she said about Angel Reese didn't just stir drama, it cracked open the truth about how fragile the unity really is in women's basketball right now.
Which is in every carb pretty much possible, and I know they make like gluten-free stuff, but that shit tastes weird to me. I can still eat chicken, that's good. Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna be kind of turning into a rabbit, so I don't know, I guess I'm gonna turn into a Victoria's Secret model.
Everyone jumped to pick sides over her Victoria's Secret joke, but the real question is this: why did Sophie feel bold enough to say it in the first place? Angel Reese just hit the Victoria's Secret runway. That's not rumor, that's fact. Sophie cracked a quick joke about it. Also fact. But what happened next? That's where the drama exploded. The comment section turned into an all-out brawl. People instantly pulled the race card, calling Sophie everything from a clout chaser to someone who only stays relevant by name-dropping bigger stars. And here's where it gets wild. This isn't new. The same exact pattern played out all season with Caitlin Clark. You've seen it. Anytime a white player so much as mentions a black star, it becomes a headline and a racial controversy. It's like clockwork. That's not coincidence. That's the social media climate the WNBA's been brewing for the last 2 years, where every single interaction gets dissected under one lens, and one lens only. And Sophie? She's no rookie. She's been around long enough to know exactly what happens when you speak certain names out loud. So the real question is, why'd she do it? Let's rewind. Remember when someone said, the best thing that's happened lately is Sophie Cunningham getting into the media space? They weren't lying, because that move changed everything. Sophie isn't just hooping anymore. She's building a media empire. She's 1/3 of Tres Leches, hosting podcasts, making viral clips, and learning how this game really works. In today's media world, controversy equals clicks, and clicks equal growth. And guess what gets the most clicks in WNBA conversations right now? Anything involving Angel Reese or Caitlin Clark. That's not coincidence, and that's strategy. Sophie's not reckless, she's calculated. She sees players like Angel landing major brand deals, walking runways, and landing magazine covers. And now she's ensuring her name stays in that same spotlight. Whether you love it or hate it, Sophie just played the media game like a pro. Is it shade? Is it admiration? Nope. It's strategy.
The championship celebration for the Las Vegas Aces, we got Angel Wilson with a whistle, and she said, "The only special whistle I know." Okay, Asia, you gotta relax. You gotta relax, mama. Y'all barely beat a hospital team in the Indiana Fever. Like, come on, come on. Y'all did win a championship, and you did your thing. You balled out. But bro, you act like people
What Sophie just pulled off is pure media chess. She jumped right into the most viral storyline in women's basketball without saying a single thing technically offensive. That's not luck. That's calculated precision. It's a masterclass in knowing exactly how to stir attention without crossing the line. But watch what happened next. The internet didn't debate her point. They debated her. Suddenly, the conversation flipped into, was Sophie being racist? Was she jealous? Can white players even joke about black players? All the wrong questions. Nobody paused to ask the real one. Why is Angel Reese walking the Victoria's Secret runway during the offseason instead of tightening up the parts of her game that got exposed in the playoffs? Then came the clip. Angel strutting down that runway, owning every second, and the reaction split right down the middle. One creator nailed it perfectly, saying, "I have no problem with this." And he's right. Angel earned that opportunity. She's got the charisma, the following, the business appeal, then she's built for the spotlight. But here's the uncomfortable truth no one wants to touch. The same people cheering Angel's fashion moment are the ones who dragged Caitlin Clark for hosting Saturday Night Live during the season. Let's be real. The double standard isn't hidden, it's screaming in plain sight. When Caitlin does media, people say she's distracted. When Angel does it, it's empowerment. When Sophie even mentions it, she's suddenly racist. You see the hypocrisy? The rules keep changing depending on who's doing what, and everyone's just pretending not to notice. That's the real controversy. It's not Sophie's joke. It's that her joke exposed the messy truth about how uneven the public reactions have become. And the moment that reality hit, the internet panicked.
Is gluten, which is in every carb pretty much possible. And I know they make like gluten-free stuff, but that shit tastes weird to me. I can still eat chicken. That's good. Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna be kind of turning into a rabbit. So I don't know. I guess I'm gonna turn into a Victoria's Secret model.
Now let's pivot, because AJ Wilson somehow took the drama to an even wilder level. Remember that clip from the start? The only special whistle I know? That's Aja, the reigning MVP, brushing off criticism that's backed by stats. And she didn't stop there. She aimed it right at Aaliyah Boston, who got absolutely robbed by the refs in that playoff series. The drama just keeps getting louder. Nobody else in this league gets treatment like this. Aja Wilson walked into the championship game and shot 19 free throws. By herself. Let that number sink in. One player. 19. The entire Phoenix Mercury roster didn't even reach that total. A whole professional basketball team got fewer trips to the line than one superstar. That's wild. And how did Aja respond when people pointed it out? She mocked them. She laughed it off, cracking jokes about special whistles, acting like the criticism was just noise instead of reality. But those numbers don't lie. They scream favoritism. This is the definition of superstar privilege. The kind where you can't admit the advantage, because admitting it means your dominance might not be entirely about skill. It's the same thing we've seen before. LeBron did it. Brady did it. Every all-time great eventually develops that blind spot where they can't see the preferential calls they get. But here's the catch. Aja's situation is different because the WNBA isn't in a place where it can afford that kind of tone-deaf arrogance. The league is fighting for legitimacy, fighting to prove it's fair, competitive, and worth the spotlight. And having your biggest star shrug off criticism about officiating kills that message instantly. Now, why does it matter this much? Because Caitlin Clark just pulled millions of brand new fans into this league. They're watching closely, and they've seen it all. They've seen Caitlin getting slammed to the floor game after game with no whistle. They've seen her get undercut, blindsided, even straight up clotheslined, and somehow, silence from the refs. Then, in the same breath, they see Aja Wilson breathe near a defender and get 2 free throws. The contrast isn't subtle. It's embarrassing. It's destroying the league's credibility with the exact audience they're trying to win over. Just listen to fans vent online. You can hear the frustration.
What's happened recently is Sophie Cunningham getting into the media space. She gonna always give us something. Always, always. I love the fact that Sophie is doing podcasting and talking more. Let's take a look at...
You can't even breathe next to her. Clark gets hammered, no call. Collier gets her leg run through, no whistle. But Aja Wilson. One bump and the refs react like it's a car crash. And here's the thing. These aren't haters talking. These are fans who respect Aja's greatness but refuse to ignore what's right in front of their eyes. They're not denying her talent. They're questioning the fairness, and that's a conversation the WNBA can't afford to laugh off anymore. That's the stance more fans need to take. You can admire greatness and still call out favoritism when you see it. A'ja Wilson is phenomenal, no question. She's an MVP, a champion, a walking highlight reel, one of the best players the league has ever seen. But she also gets calls that no one else in the WNBA could dream of getting. Both things can be true at once. The issue is, A'ja refuses to admit the second part, and that denial is what makes it all worse. When you mock fans for pointing out something that's backed by numbers, you don't look confident. You look disconnected from reality. When you fire shots at someone like Aaliyah Boston while benefiting from advantages she never gets, it doesn't come off as competitive. It comes off as entitled. What A'ja doesn't seem to realize is that Aaliyah Boston gave her everything she could handle in that playoff series. The Fever weren't scared. They were coming for that throne. And if Kelsey Mitchell hadn't gone down injured, if Indiana wasn't forced to run Shea Petty major minutes just to stay afloat, we might have seen a completely different ending. Let's be real. The Aces were vulnerable. Indiana exposed cracks that nobody else could. They pushed the defending champs to the edge, and the only reason that series didn't go deeper was because of injuries, and some very questionable officiating that tilted the court toward Vegas. Even commentators couldn't ignore it. You could hear the frustration in their tone. Bull stuff right there. If Kelsey doesn't get hurt, your team doesn't even make the finals. That's the raw truth fans keep shouting, and deep down, A'ja knows it too.
Okay, Angel Reese walking in the fashion show. Okay, she got her angel wings on. Okay, so this is what Sophie Cunningham is referring to. Like I said, I have no problem with this. Walking the runway, bikini thing, whatever. I don't care. You do your thing. I didn't really feel like this.
The Fever had the Aces wobbling. They were right there, one healthy roster away from flipping the entire postseason. And instead of recognizing how real that threat was, instead of giving that young Indiana squad their respect, A'ja brushed it off like it was nothing. That's the part that stings, because the Fever earned that respect, and the league saw it with their own eyes. A'ja's out here cracking jokes about special whistles and tossing shade at Aaliyah Boston. But that's not confidence talking, that's deflection. It's the mindset of someone who knows deep down that the criticism has truth to it but can't admit it without feeling like they're undermining their own greatness. A'ja has grinded her entire life to reach this level. She's earned her spot among the best in the game. Nobody's denying that. But let's be honest, she's also getting a level of referee protection that other superstars don't get. And her refusal to admit it doesn't make her look powerful. It makes her look fragile. Real confidence doesn't laugh off valid criticism. Real confidence looks it in the eye and says, "Yeah, I get calls, and I still cook you anyway." That's what secure greatness sounds like. But A'ja can't bring herself to say it, because deep down she knows those whistles are louder than they should be. Now here's where things connect. Sophie and A'ja are living proof of the same double standard from two opposite sides. Sophie drops a joke, calculated sure, and instantly she's labeled racist, jealous, a clout chaser chasing headlines. Meanwhile, A'ja makes a joke dismissing fair criticism, and somehow she gets applause for it from the same people who tore Sophie apart. Make that make sense. It's wild. The same kind of behavior gets totally different reactions depending on who says it and who they're talking about. Sophie fires a light jab at Angel Reese. The internet explodes, calling her every name possible.
By yourself than the entire Phoenix Mercury team. Nobody's making this stuff up, Asia. Come on, man. Like, y'all act like it's gonna kill y'all to keep it real. It's not gonna kill you to keep it real. Everybody know you get all types of calls that nobody.
A'ja mocks the refs and takes a swipe at Boston? Crickets. Or worse, people cheer. That inconsistency is killing honest discussion in the league. Every word now gets dissected like it's a political statement. Every joke gets treated like a manifesto. Every small interaction turns into a headline. And the only ones truly winning in this chaos are the players who know how to work it. The Sophies who understand that controversy equals clicks. And the A'jas who know their star power shields them from the backlash. But here's the scary part. For everyone who genuinely cares about the WNBA's growth, this environment is a ticking time bomb. When controversy replaces conversation and bias replaces fairness, it's not just messy, it's toxic for the league's long-term health. New fans don't want to tiptoe through a minefield where every take risks being labeled racist. Casual viewers don't want to watch a league where the referee's bias is so obvious it makes the games feel rigged. And players? They're stuck in a system where being honest and even joking turns into a full-blown controversy overnight. That's not competition anymore. That's chaos. Yeah, Sophie's joke about Angel Reese was probably calculated, but guess what? That's smart business in 2025. Angel has turned controversy into cash, headlines into deals, and attention into empire-level opportunities most players will never touch. She walked runways, landed sponsorships, and built her brand from buzz. And Sophie? She's studying that exact playbook and running her own version of it. Let's be real. The people furious at Sophie aren't mad about the joke itself. They're mad that she used the same tactics others used successfully, and she wasn't supposed to. They think only certain players are allowed to play that media game, and Sophie just broke that rule. People keep saying, she always has to drop someone's name to get clicks. She's building her brand off bigger players. Yeah, that's exactly what she's doing, and it's working.
She's done it. She's done it. She got MVPs. She got WNBA titles. Angel Wilson is a great, great player, but she gets a great assist from the officials. You can't breathe next to her. Caitlin Clark can't get a foul. Nafisa Collier can get her leg run through by Alyssa Thomas, no foul. But if you breathe too hard next to Angel Wilson, the referees are blowing a damn whistle. Like, stop it. We're not going to act like that does not exist. We're not going to act like that is not happening.
Look around. We're literally talking about Sophie Cunningham right now. Her name's trending, her podcast numbers are climbing, and her media brand is expanding every week. Every angry comment, every hate post, every viral thread, all of it fuels the same machine she's building. Sophie's not reckless, and she's tactical. She knows controversy feeds visibility, and visibility equals power in today's media landscape. The outrage is part of the design. People think they're calling her out, but they're actually promoting her. That's the irony, like she's winning while they rage. Meanwhile, Angel Wilson is doing the opposite. She's sitting on top of the mountain using her superstar platform to punch down on younger players and brush off legitimate criticism like it's beneath her. That's not strategy. That's insecurity hiding behind status. And that contrast tells you everything. One player using attention to grow her voice, the other using her voice to silence others. The league is split between those chasing relevance and those guarding power. And both sides are forgetting the same truth. The fans are watching it all unfold. That's the thing about confidence. Real confidence doesn't need to mock anyone. When you're truly at the top, you don't waste time clowning people who point out your advantages. Secure greatness doesn't get defensive, and it can say, yeah, I get calls sometimes, and I'd still dominate without them. That's the kind of energy that earns respect, but Aja, she can't go there. And the sad part is, it's making her look smaller than her game actually is. And her game is massive. But let's be clear, this story isn't just about Sophie's joke or Aja's mockery. It's about what both moments reveal about the state of the WNBA right now. A league that's exploding in popularity, yet drowning in its own growing pains. It's stuck between progress and dysfunction, between chasing mainstream fame and battling a toxic, divided discourse. On one side, you've got players like Sophie, sharp, media-savvy, fully aware that controversy equals visibility. On the other, you've got players like Aja, dominant on the court, but convinced that performance alone should protect them from criticism. That clash is shaping everything we're seeing right now. And it's turning every comment, every clip, every viral post into a reflection of the league's identity crisis.
You was about to go. If Kelsey don't get hurt, Caitlin aside, Sophie aside, all those other injuries aside, if Kelsey don't get hurt, your ass don't even make it to the finals. We had Shea Petty playing. What are you talking about? Like, don't get crazy, Asia. Don't get crazy. The only special whistle I know. Yeah, bush. I call bush. I call that. That's bush.
The WNBA has reached a crossroads, and both of these women just became symbols of that tension. One embodies the rise of the player as brand era, the other represents the old guard of on-court dominance and off-court denial. And neither side seems ready to admit how intertwined they've become. Watch how fans react online. People know it's messy. They can see that these players are aware of what they're doing. Every post, every dig, every joke is part of the larger show. The drama is the product now. The WNBA used to be about basketball first. The competition, the craft, the storylines born from the court. Now, the games feel secondary to the controversies, the media narratives, the social debates that follow every play and every tweet. Is that good for the league? Depends who you ask. It's fantastic for engagement. The numbers prove it. It's great for players who are smart enough to turn attention into income. But for fans who just want to watch pure basketball, without wondering if every whistle or every joke will turn into another headline, it's exhausting. And that's the reality the WNBA has to face before the noise gets louder than the game itself. Because here's the truth, the WNBA can't grow if it keeps turning every storyline into a battlefield. Fans came for the basketball, for the talent, the rivalries, the energy, not to watch players get dragged for every word that leaves their mouth. The league's got stars who can change the culture, but instead of uniting behind that power, it's tearing itself apart over who's allowed to speak, who's protected, and who's problematic. That chaos might drive clicks now, but it'll cost trust later. Sophie Cunningham understood the assignment. She knew exactly what that one line would do. She's not just chasing fame. She's mastering the media formula the same way athletes in bigger leagues have done for years. Her joke was a calculated spark, and she lit it knowing exactly how the internet would react. You don't get that kind of timing by accident. Meanwhile, Angel Wilson's sitting on top of the mountain acting like she's untouchable. But every time she laughs off criticism, it chips away at her credibility. She's one of the greatest players in the game, yet the more defensive she gets, the more it looks like she's scared to face the obvious. That's not leadership. That's ego wrapped in denial. And both women are mirror images of where the league is right now. Two sides of the same storm. Sophie's chasing visibility, Angel's defending legacy, and the WNBA is caught right in the middle, benefiting from the attention while risking its integrity in the process. Because let's face it, controversy is currency in today's sports world. But if every highlight gets buried under drama, the game itself loses its shine. Fans are starting to notice that it's not just about who wins anymore, it's about who trends. And when that becomes the standard, the scoreboard stops mattering as much as the headlines do. The league's got a decision to make. Double down on the spectacle or bring the focus back to the sport that built it. Right now, the product's hot, the attention's massive, but the message is fractured. Players are learning how to manipulate the moment, but the question is, can the WNBA control it before the spectacle swallows the sport? Because if this trend keeps rolling, every game won't just be a matchup, it'll be a culture war. Every comment won't just be a soundbite, it'll be a statement. And the league's biggest threat won't come from a rival team. It'll come from the chaos inside its own house. So the question now isn't who's right or wrong, and it's who's steering the ship. Because if the WNBA wants to grow beyond the drama, someone's got to remind the world what made it special in the first place, the game itself. And that's the question nobody in the WNBA wants to answer honestly. Because the truth hurts. The drama is fueling the league's growth, but it's also chasing away the people who actually love the game. The casual crowd eats it up. The chaos, the shade, the viral clips. But the real basketball fans, they're getting tired. Tired of turning on a game and feeling like they're watching a reality show instead of a sport. Players are stuck in the middle, balancing their careers, their brands, and their image in a league where a 30-second joke can explode into a week-long war of headlines. Where 19 free throws in a championship game can get brushed off as a special whistle punchline. Where being outspoken gets labeled as arrogance, and staying quiet gets twisted as guilt. It's a no-win situation, and everyone's playing defense, even off the court. But make no mistake, Sophie Cunningham knew exactly what she was doing. She saw a moment, timed it perfectly, and jumped straight into the biggest conversation in women's basketball. That's not luck. That's strategy. She flipped a single comment into national debate, built her platform overnight, and whether people love her or hate her, they can't stop talking about her. That's how you turn controversy into currency. And that's the bigger picture. This league is standing at a crossroads. On one side, it's pure basketball, talent, teamwork, and legacy. On the other, it's media spectacle, clicks, conflict, and constant drama. Right now, both are fighting for control, and whichever wins will define the future of women's basketball for years to come. Because every post, every whistle, every quote is shaping the culture. And the next generation of players is watching all of this, learning that in 2025, talent alone isn't enough. You've got to master the game and the algorithm. So here's the real takeaway, and the WNBA is evolving and we're all watching it happen in real time. The only question left is whether it grows stronger through the chaos or burns itself out chasing the spotlight. What do you think? Has the drama gone too far? Or is this just the new era of women's basketball? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button. Share this with someone who follows the league. And don't forget to subscribe, because the next story is already brewing. See you on the next one.